When I found pole, all of a sudden I stopped seeing my body as the enemy. I felt powerful and I liked it.
I now look at myself in all of these mirrors in this room and I don't hate what I see.
It's like I put on my shoes and everything else just doesn't matter.
I love pole dancing. I love the feeling that it gives me. I love feeling strong. I love feeling sexy, and I love feeling graceful and light and being like a creature of the air who can kind of flip upside down. I love all of that. And so when people try to pass judgment or tell me that, they don't think that it's appropriate, or, they make snide little remarks about it, I feel bad for them. I'm not objectifying myself. If they're objectifying me because of what I do, that's for them to work on.
You would never imagine that Michelle, one of Australia's most prominent pole dancers, would have suffered from body image problems. But pole dancing has taught her to celebrate her body.
I think that pole dancing has a really, well, for me personally, it's played a really important role in changing the way that I see my body. And I, like many teenage girls and women in their 20s and even younger children today, I had eating disorders growing up. I had food obsession issues, used to control and limit what I ate when I was a teenager. And this continued till, I was sort of 23, 24, 25. And I remember it being all-consuming, and it wasn't something that I could control. I would be so proud of myself if I could go to bed without dinner. And it was awful. It was no way to live. And I think about all the energy that I wasted, starving myself and depriving myself when I could have been putting that energy and that effort into something productive. And then when I found pole, all of a sudden I stopped seeing my body as the enemy.
Dealing with body image is one thing, dealing with abuse is another.
His mental abuse and his verbal abuse eventually made me nothing. I'd gone from being a happy 20-something-year-old to feeling like the only way out was to end my own life.
2 years ago, Simone Marie found herself in the middle of a nightmare as she struggled to escape an abusive relationship.
In 2015, I was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, and on my way to recovery, I fell in love, thinking, as you do, that this might be a good thing for me to help recover and I'll feel happier, but love started to turn into hate quite quickly, quite dramatically, and within 6 months I found myself being verbally and mentally abused by someone who told me they loved me daily. And I felt stuck, and it took months for me to actually be able to leave him completely. Even after I'd left the relationship as a whole, he stalked me, he harassed my friends, my family. I felt like I didn't have an escape at all. I thought I would never be happy and that I would never be confident and that I would never escape that part of my life. But slowly I did, and coming to pole has sort of cemented that.
Karen Willis is the Executive Officer of Rape and Domestic Violence Services Australia, a centre that provides counselling and assistance to anyone that has experienced or is at risk of sexual assault or domestic violence.
1 in 4 women in Australia over the age of 15 will experience sexual assault or domestic violence at some stage in their life. For men, it's 1 in 22. And sexual assault is 1 in 5 women, so the 1 in 4 is an average. It's endemic, and that doesn't take into account where people have come close or have managed to escape or have managed to fight off attackers.
In her years of dealing with trauma, she found that survivors of sexual assault often lose their sense of worth.
What we do know about stranger danger assault, even though it's fairly rare, is actually the more violent of assaults. And so during the assault, people might think they're going to die. And often people will talk about, well, I just laid there and took it and hoped that he wouldn't kill me at the end. And certainly what we say is, great, you did the right thing. You survived. And that's the important bit.
Lauren Curry survived sexual assault at the hands of a stranger at a young age. and started down a destructive path to deal with the trauma.
After what happened to me, I started to just go out drinking all the time. I kind of ditched all of the passions and sports that I did. And it wasn't until I was at university that I started to actually accept what had happened to me.
When someone says, I've been sexually assaulted, we want to know where they were, what they were doing, how they dressed, how they're behaving, had they been drinking, had they been taking drugs, had they had sex before, had they had sex with that person before, and did they say no? You know, because the average sex offender really listens to that. Like 20 questions before we even consider believing this person is telling us they've experienced an appalling crime. So those sorts of attitudes that seek to blame the victim and hold her responsible for what's occurred are absolutely all part of the shaming of people who've experienced sexual assault.
The process of recovery usually involves talking to someone about your experience, but in Lauren's case, talking to a professional was only the first step.
I think anyone that's been through something similar to me should think about whether they're ready to open up and talk to a professional. I think talking to a professional helped me find closure, but I don't think that made me find myself. I think that was pole dancing. Pole dancing is what gave me the confidence and made me find me and made me find my sexuality again.
Lauren began her experience of recovery in a gym, but found that running on a treadmill just didn't cut it.
So I found pole dancing when I started going to my local gym, and I remember just joining and then running on a treadmill every morning and thinking this was how I had to exercise. And then I looked through one of the doors one evening and there was these girls doing a pole dancing class, and they were all laughing and smiling and lifting each other up off the floor and giggling and coming out on top of the world. And I just thought, what am I doing? Like, I want to do that. Everyone was so supportive. Everyone just built each other up, and it kind of just made me feel a lot emotionally and physically stronger. And the more I did it and accomplished things that I didn't think I'd ever be able to do, the more confidence I got and the more I didn't care about anything else.
So the question is, why does this activity that so obviously exposes the dancer to society's judgment allow women to feel so empowered?
So recovery is about getting to a place where the violence you've experienced is a part of your life rather than something that controls and dominates your life. So for some people, absolutely pole dancing. For other people, it's gardening. For other people, it's painting pictures, whether they're beautiful or not. There's a whole range of different things. And I think for some people, particularly in the pole dancing arena, it's about physical fitness, it's about prowess, it's about I'm a sexual being, but I'm in control of this and no one has the right to abuse me because of it.
To be in a room where there's women lifting you up and just really doing inspiring dancing makes you feel like that you can do that too. And that confidence kind of helps you find your sexuality again and makes you be able to express yourself. I think pole dancing is really empowering, and the fact that it makes you feel so sexy is so good, because a lot of people don't have people telling them all the time that they look great and oh, you're really strong. And it's really nice to receive those comments, but also if you've had a tough day, if I've been at work, I literally will step into my 8-inch pleasers and I feel like I'm a different person. I feel like I'm stepping into someone that is just confident, going to let things go, and I know for that hour that I'm just going to feel the music and I don't have to think about anything else.
Although the healing benefits of pole dancing may or may not be promoted by psychologists, the reality is, for many women, it can work and it is working.
I think there's a lot that I still need to do personally to deal with my trauma on that level of what actually happened. But coming back to finding confidence and empowerment in myself, that's what pole has given me. It's changed me in a way that I now look at myself in all of these mirrors in this room and I don't hate what I see. I don't hate what my possible future could be, because I come back to this brass pole almost every day and work my butt off for something bigger than my trauma, for something bigger than my past. We should be allowed to be females, empowered, independent and sexually open to be who we are. And pole brings that back. It's not just strippers, it's not just dancing around for money, it's not just a way to get fit, it's a complete overhaul of your life, because pole takes over everything. And that's why I love it.
So I feel through pole it is kind of a way to reclaim that sense of control over your sexuality and that feeling of power that you're setting the terms, that here I am doing this beautiful, sexy, sensual performance and it's on my terms. I've decided to wear this outfit. I've decided to perform in this way and no one can take that away from you.